CreepyCorner stories.
Hey folks, before we dive into tonight's stories, I want to give a huge thank you to Kieran Tibbetts and Lisa Collin for supporting the channel and being amazing members. If you'd like to help me keep creating these stories, feel free to become a member. It really helps the channel grow. I'm planning to continue exploring more than just the dark web tales, so if you enjoy what you hear tonight, you're in the right place. Now, grab your headphones, turn off the lights, and let's step into another amazing night with you and me together. Don't forget to subscribe, like, and comment below. It means the world to me and helps keep the horror alive. And tell me in the comments, what kind of story hits you the hardest? The ones that feel too real, or the ones that could actually happen to someone you know? I bought KTM bike from the dark web. It has a secret map installed that led me to save a crashed UFO. Alright, so I've never posted anything on Reddit before. I usually just lurk around r/no sleep or r/true off my chest when I can't sleep at 2 a.m. But after what happened, I don't even know. I just need to get it out somewhere. If anyone else has experienced something even remotely like this, please say something. I feel like I'm going insane. For reference, I'm 22. I live in Idaho, not the creepy mountain part, just outside Boise. And I've always been kind of into weird internet stuff. You know, ARGS, deep web rabbit holes, those sketchy horror subreddits that you can only find if someone links them directly. I'm not a hacker or anything. I'm just a guy who gets too curious for his own good when I'm bored. And I get bored a lot. It all started about 6 weeks ago. I was scrolling through this Discord server I'm in, just one of those random late night ones where people share creepypasta videos and horror memes, and someone dropped a link to a hidden marketplace. Not Silk Road, not White Rabbit. This was something way lower key. The URL didn't even look like your typical .onion address. It had emojis in it. The guy who dropped the link didn't say anything, just posted it and dipped, which in hindsight should have been a red flag. But no, I clicked it. I used Tails and Tor, I'm not that dumb, and landed on this page that looked like Craigslist if Craigslist was built in a dungeon. Black background, gray text, no images except for a weird low-res logo of a goat's head surrounded by gears. The site name just said Black Throttle. I clicked motorcycles because I've always wanted a KTM. I know that's weirdly specific, but I had this poster as a kid of a KTM 450 SXF and swore I'd own one day. And there it was. Front page, no price, just KTM 450 SXF, modified, one of a kind, location locked. That was it. No contact info, no seller bio, nothing. But there was a button under it that said claim. Now here's where it gets weird. I clicked it, expecting a checkout or crypto payment thing, but instead, my screen flashed black and a single sentence appeared. You have been chosen. Prepare for delivery. I closed my laptop like it was about to explode. I shut down Tails, pulled the USB out, and just stared at the wall. Like, what the actual hell did I just do? I didn't tell anyone, not even my best friend, Carl. Mostly because I knew how dumb it sounded, but also because I figured nothing would happen until 2 days later. I was working a morning shift at Starbucks. Yeah, I'm that guy. And around 10:45 a.m., this beat-up delivery truck pulled into the lot. Not FedEx, not Amazon, just this old white box truck with no logos. It idled for a second, then drove around the back near the dumpsters. Nobody seemed to notice it, but me. I stepped outside on break about 5 minutes later, sipping some stale-ass cold brew, and saw the back of the truck slightly open. Just a crack. And guess what I saw inside? Yep, a KTM. Brand new. Orange and white. Same model as the one on the site. It was spotless. Like, too spotless. No dust. No grime. The tires didn't even look like they'd touched pavement. I swear to God, I looked away for like a second to grab my phone, and when I looked back, the truck was gone. Just vanished. No engine sound. No tire marks. Nothing. But the bike? It was leaning against the dumpster, like it had been gently placed there for me. No note, no key. Just a small, blinking LED on the dashboard and a folded paper taped to the gas tank. The paper said, "Install the app. Follow the map. Do not deviate." Underneath that was a QR code. Now, most normal people would probably walk away at that point, maybe call the cops, maybe toss the whole bike in a lake and pretend it never happened. But I've never been normal. Curiosity's a disease, and I was already infected. I scanned the QR code on my cracked iPhone. It opened a black screen with spinning coordinates and loaded something called Pathfinder 0.6. Not on the App Store. No permission screen. Just installed itself. I don't even know how. I didn't jailbreak my phone or anything. It just appeared. The app launched and showed a single waypoint, somewhere out in the woods near a place called Craters of the Moon. If you're not from Idaho, that place is a national monument. Giant lava fields, caves, weird rock formations that look like the surface of Mars. Super trippy. People go there to stargaze and do shrooms or whatever. I was supposed to be working the weekend shift, but screw it. I called out, lied about food poisoning, and texted Kyle to borrow his truck. Told him I was going camping and wanted to take the bike. He thought it was sick that I finally got one and didn't ask too many questions. Bless that guy. By Friday night, I had the KTM strapped to the back of Kyle's Tacoma and a cooler full of Red Bulls and trail mix. I was halfway to Craters of the Moon by midnight. Here's where things started feeling wrong. About 20 minutes outside of Arco, the GPS app on my phone switched by itself. Not the one I downloaded, the default one. Apple Maps. It just blinked once and now said, "Follow Pathfinder route. Estimated arrival, 2:17 a.m. Then my phone completely shut off. Wouldn't turn back on. But the KTM's dash, it lit up. A soft blue glow, displaying the exact same ETA, 2:17 a.m. The temperature gauge flickered. The headlight blinked once, like it was acknowledging me. I laughed, nervously. Like, okay, this is messed up, but it's kind of cool. Like I was in a horror ARG that hadn't hit the scary part yet. I parked at a gravel turnout by 1:50 a.m. Dead quiet, sky full of stars. No wind, no animals, just empty. I rolled the KTM off the truck and fired it up. It started instantly. The LED on the dash now showed an arrow and the word begin. I followed it into the dark. That was 2 weeks ago. I haven't told anyone what I found out there. Not Kyle, not my sister, not even the cops. Because I know what I saw. And if I'm right, this is way bigger than some glitchy horror game. And it all started with a dirt bike from the dark web. Alright, I'm back. And I know I said I'd upload the footage. I will. But first, I need to explain what happened when I followed that map. This isn't a story I can just dump all at once. It doesn't work like that. Because whatever this is, it's still happening. So if you're just catching up, go read part 1 first. This isn't one of those creepy little mystery stories that wraps up nicely with a jump scare and a twist. This is real. Or it feels real. I'm still not entirely sure where the line is anymore. But if you've ever stared into the dark long enough for it to blink back at you, you know what I mean. So, yeah. I was riding a stolen-looking KTM dirt bike with a self-installing app, following a GPS signal through the Idaho wilderness at 2 in the freaking morning. Craters of the Moon isn't exactly the kind of place you want to get lost in. It's basically a black lava wasteland. No cell service, no streetlights. The rocks cut through your boots if you're not careful. It looks like the Earth's skin got peeled back and never healed. And the bike? It just kept going. The LED arrow on the dash didn't just point like a compass. It shifted, like it was live tracking something moving underground. It felt like I was being guided by something watching from below. About 10 minutes into the ride, I passed a trail closed sign. Except it wasn't a trail. It looked more like a service path, barely wide enough for the bike to fit. The sign was old and rotting, the wood cracked like dry bone. That's when I heard it. At first, I thought it was just the engine echoing off the rocks, but as I cut the throttle, I realized it wasn't coming from me. It was deeper, faint, almost like static. Not like radio static either. I mean, this was more organic, like if someone whispered through a busted walkie-talkie underwater, the kind of sound that makes the hair on your neck wake up before your brain catches on. The bike started vibrating slightly, not violently, just enough to make my hands itch. The map updated. Proximity, 0.7 miles. Remain silent. What the hell kind of GPS warns you like that? I kept going. At around 0.4 miles, I reached what I thought was the destination. The trail opened up into a massive crater, like a bowl carved into the rock, maybe 30 feet deep and wide enough to fit a football field. But this wasn't natural. The edges were too clean, too even. There were patterns etched into the stone, not carved by humans. I don't mean like hieroglyphics either. These were geometric, mechanical looking. Imagine crop circles, but burned into the rock instead of grass. And in the center, a crack, not a cave entrance, not a tunnel. A crack, thin, maybe 4 feet long, about the width of a skateboard, glowing faint blue from underneath, pulsing like a heartbeat. And that static, louder now. But it wasn't static anymore. It was a voice, not in English, not in any language I recognized, but rhythmic, chant-like. It sounded like someone reading an instruction manual, backwards, underwater, while dying. I should have left right then, but instead, I parked the bike, grabbed my flashlight, and stepped toward the crack. Here's where things get really messed up. As soon as I crossed into the crater, everything stopped. The wind, the static, the vibration. Even the stars overhead seemed to pause, like someone pressed mute on the entire world. Then my flashlight died. I didn't drop it. It just flickered once and shut off. Same with my phone, which I hadn't touched since leaving the truck. Completely bricked. The only thing still glowing, the KTM, back at the edge of the crater. But it wasn't showing the map anymore. It was showing a live feed. I swear to God, I'm not making this up. The bike's display, tiny, maybe 4 inches across, was showing me from above, like a drone shot, top down, standing right next to the glowing crack. I looked up. Nothing. Just sky. I looked around. No trees, no towers, no drones. But the screen was showing me, clear as day, my own head looking up in confusion Then the camera angle zoomed in, tight on my back, tighter, until it was staring directly at the back of my neck. And then it went black, but not before flashing a single word across the bottom. Marked! I turned and sprinted. I'm not ashamed to say I panicked. I tripped halfway up the crater wall and tore my hand open on one of the black rocks, but I didn't care. I just wanted to get back to the bike. But the bike wasn't there. I swear to everything, the bike was gone. Not just moved, gone. No tracks, no sound, just empty crater edge, like it had never been there at all. And then I saw something else, not far off, maybe 50 yards out. There were lights, not flashlight beams, not campfires. These were low, soft, hovering just above the ground. 3 of them, blue, green, and white. And standing in front of them was a figure, not a guy, not a ranger, something tall, like 7 feet, completely motionless, silhouette thin as a lamppost, no face, no clothes, just a black outline against the glowing lights. I didn't move. It didn't move. I blinked. Gone. I don't remember getting back to the road. I don't even remember walking. 1 minute I was standing in that crater, and the next I was leaning against the back of Kyle's truck, sweating like I'd run a marathon, with blood all over my left hand and dirt in my mouth. My phone was sitting on the tailgate, turned off. No sign of the app, no photos, no map. And the bike, back on the truck bed, engine cold, kickstand down, like it never left. I didn't sleep that night, or the night after, but I did check my body in the mirror, and on the back of my neck, just above the spine, there was a mark, small, circular, almost like a scar from a needle, but darker, like it had been burned in. I tried to Google mark on neck after bright lights, and immediately got redirected to a dead page. I even called a nurse friend and asked if it could be a tick bite or something. She said it looked older than that, like it had been there a while. But I swear it wasn't there before. Something out there touched me. And the more I dig, the more I'm starting to think this isn't just about the bike. This was a delivery, but I wasn't the buyer. I was the cargo. Okay, I didn't plan on writing this tonight. I wasn't going to post anything until I had real evidence, screenshots, maybe a screen recording, but something happened. And now I feel like I'm racing against time. Like if I wait even one more day, I'll either forget everything, or someone will make sure I do. If you haven't read parts 1 and 2, go back. This won't make sense without them. I wish it didn't make sense at all. So, a quick recap if you're lazy. I bought a sketchy KTM bike off a dark web market that looked like it was built by demons on dial-up. Followed a creepy GPS into the Idaho wilderness at 2 a.m. Found a glowing crack in the ground at Craters of the Moon. Saw something non-human. Lost the bike. Then somehow the bike reappeared, like it never left. And now I've got a mark on the back of my neck that wasn't there before. Cool. Great. Love that for me. But what happened next was worse, because it followed me home. It started subtly. Nothing dramatic at first, just weird phone behavior. I'd be scrolling TikTok and notice little glitches, like the bottom half of the screen flickering, or the audio playing out of sync. I figured it was just my phone being old, but then I saw it. I was watching a video of some guy trying out McDonald's menu hacks, like mixing a filet-o-fish with a McDouble or whatever, and in the reflection of the drive-through window behind him, there was a face. Number. Not a face. A silhouette. Tall. Thin. Exactly like the one I saw in the crater. It was standing behind his car, motionless, staring directly into the reflection. No one reacted. The guy in the video didn't flinch. The TikTok had thousands of likes. Nobody else seemed to notice it. I replayed the video, paused it, frame by frame, and on the 6th frame, the face turned, not toward the car, toward me. It looked directly into the camera. No joke, I dropped my phone. And here's the messed up part. When I picked it back up, the TikTok was gone. Not just off my feed, it was deleted. The sound too. I couldn't even find the creator's profile. Just a user not found screen. Like it was erased in real time. That's when I remembered something from the creator. The screen on the bike didn't say arrived. It didn't say complete. It said marked. And now it's like the signal followed me back. Over the next few days, things escalated. Every time I opened Instagram, I started seeing ads that didn't belong. Not like illegal stuff. These were places, specific coordinates, local too. One ad said, "You were seen. You must see in return. Latitude 43.3, 170. Longitude negative 112.2, 153. I plugged that into Google Maps. It's a gas station. Just a random ass Sinclair with a faded green dinosaur sign. 2 hours outside Boise. I've never been there. Never driven past it. The ad vanished when I refreshed. Never came back. But later that night, while I was watching YouTube in bed, one of those autoplay "Here's My Story" animations popped up. Except it wasn't their channel. It looked like their style. Same art, same voiceover. But the title was, "I was marked by an alien beacon after downloading a cursed app." And get this, the character looked exactly like me. Same brown hoodie, same chipped iPhone, even the same scar on my left wrist from a skateboarding wipeout in high school. The story played out like a reenactment of what happened at Craters of the Moon, except it ended differently. In the video, the animated version of me looks into the glowing crack and climbs down. Then it cuts to black. Then one last frame flashes for half a second. You know, the frequency now. I tried to rewind, screen record, anything, but as soon as I exited full screen, video gone, channel gone, even the tab closed itself, like someone yanked the plug from behind the scenes. I tried to sleep after that. Really, I did. But I woke up at 3:33 a.m. to the sound of clicking, not like a computer mouse, more like wet fingers tapping on glass, rhythmically. Click, 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 pause, click, click, click. I sat up, completely still. It was coming from my window. I live on the 2nd floor. There's no balcony, no tree branches, just an alley below. When I peeked out, nothing there. But on the inside of the glass, there were prints, 3 finger marks, too long, too thin, pressed against the glass, like someone or something had been watching me. And beside the prints, scratched into the condensation of my breath, was one word: sleep. So now I'm being hunted, or studied, or monitored, whatever you want to call it. And I think it's connected to the app. Remember that black screen I downloaded with the QR code? Pathfinder 0.6 ? Well, I finally connected the phone to my laptop and ran some packet sniffing tools. Just basic stuff. I'm not a pro hacker, but I know my way around Wireshark. I wanted to see what the app was pinging. Turns out, every 11 minutes and 7 seconds exactly, the app would send out a tiny encrypted signal, even when the phone was powered off. I'm serious. Off. And the destination IP wasn't some normal server farm or DNS address. It resolved to a dead protocol registered under something called OSR/Argus Sync Node 13. Never heard of it. No one on Reddit had either. But when I posted about it in a buried tech thread, some random user replied in all caps, "Do not respond. Do not echo the ping. Node 13 is still active." Then his account was deleted 30 minutes later. What does echo the ping mean? I don't know, but I do know this. Every time that timer hits 11:07, I hear that same clicking sound in my walls. I decided to go back to the crater, not because I wanted to, because something told me I had to, like a magnet in my spine, pulling me toward it. But this time, I wasn't alone, because when I stopped at that exact Sinclair gas station the ad mentioned, there was another KTM, same model, same color, same blinking LED, and beside it, taped to the pump, was a note. "We see you. Keep going." The next path opens at 4:44 a.m. There was no name, no camera, no license plate, but inside the KTM's fuel tank was a flash drive, 32 gigabytes, labeled Frontier_3X. I haven't plugged it in yet. I want to wait until the next post, because something tells me this is the kind of thing you don't view alone. Alright, I finally opened the flash drive. I almost didn't. I sat with it on my desk for hours, just turning it over in my fingers like some cursed artifact. It didn't look special, just your average $9 USB stick, but the weight of it felt wrong, heavier than it should have been, like it knew what it contained. And after everything that's happened, the bike, the map, the figure in the crater, the ads on my phone, the reflection in that McDonald's window, I wasn't sure if I was ready. But something weird has started happening that made me realize I don't have the luxury of ready anymore. Because now, I'm hearing the signal even when I'm not near my phone. It's in my head. Let me backtrack a little. I mentioned last time that I went back to Craters of the Moon and found a second KTM at a gas station 2 hours out. There was a note taped to the pump, and inside the bike's tank was the flash drive, labeled Frontier_3X. I waited a few days before plugging it in, partly because I was scared, mostly because every time I almost did it, something happened to distract me. My phone would buzz even though it was off. My microwave reset to 4:44. My TikTok feed kept showing me distorted filters of myself with my eyes missing. No matter what I deleted or reset, the glitchy stuff kept coming back. Worse, I started seeing path symbols in real life. At first, it was small stuff, like sidewalk chalk near my apartment that matched the etching I saw in the crater, or the condensation on the window forming spirals that pulsed exactly like the KTM's LED dash. Then one day I walked into the Starbucks where I work, and the daily specials board had a symbol on it, not drawn with a marker, not a sticker. It was burned into the plastic, like someone took a hot poker and melted it in behind the menu items. A rough hexagon with jagged branches extending outward, same design I saw around the glowing crack in the crater. My manager didn't see it. My coworker didn't see it. But every time I blinked, it pulsed once in blue and then faded. That's when I knew the flash drive wasn't just meant for me to open. It was meant for me to understand. So I cracked a Red Bull, closed all my other tabs, disconnected from the internet, just in case, and finally plugged the drive in. Nothing happened at first, just one folder titled NBX_broadcast. Inside, it was a single .mp4 file, watch_me_first.mp4, of course. The file was 6 minutes and 13 seconds long, no metadata, no creation date. And when I played it, my entire monitor flickered like an old VHS tape booting up. Here's what was on it. The video opened with static, then cut to footage of a desert. Not Idaho, not anything I recognized. It looked like the Atacama Desert in Chile. Flat, dead, reddish earth. No signs of life. The video was grainy, like it had been recorded on an old military camcorder. A timestamp flickered in the bottom corner. March 21st, 1996, 034407 UTC. And then, without any transition or warning, the camcorder zoomed in on something shiny sticking out of the ground. Not wreckage, not a drone. Something buried. A circular, smooth object with glowing blue rings around it. Think, the top of a manhole cover, but humming, rotating slightly, like it was alive. The camcorder guy zoomed closer. You could hear him breathing heavily, nervous, shaky. And then, a voice. Not from the guy, from the object. It spoke in bursts, glitched syllables, almost digital. Some of it sounded like backward speech. But I swear to you, between the distortions, I heard my name, clear as day. It said, James, marked, frequency open, broadcast, begin, and then the camera cut to black. For 5 full seconds, nothing happened, just darkness. I almost thought the file was corrupt. Then came the screaming. Not human, not like a horror movie shriek. It sounded like layers of screams, like hundreds of people screaming through each other, all at different pitches, echoing into each other, forming one collective, mechanical howl of pain. The screen flashed, glitched symbols, coordinates. I managed to jot a few down. 43.2789 north, 113.5058 west, somewhere back in Idaho. 25.9201 south, 70.4323 west, definitely the Atacama Desert. 51.2100 north, 6.8209 E, Germany, near Düsseldorf. Then a final image. The camcorder pointed straight up at the night sky, dozens of stars, and right in the center, a perfect triangle of 3 glowing dots, slowly rotating, and beneath them, just for a frame, the KTM bike, but not a bike, my bike. Same scratches, same broken clutch lever, and the GPS on the dash was active, flashing a new word, deliver. The file ended, no credits, no outro, just black screen, and then the folder deleted itself. I didn't do anything. It just erased. Gone from the USB, gone from the system. But then, no joke, my laptop speakers turned on by themselves, and that signal, the clicking, the glitchy whispering voice, it played out loud, and behind it, static layered with real voices, people talking, not staged. It sounded like a dispatch log. Package 13B arrived at node 7. Subject showing signs of psychic feedback. Cross-dimensional overlap confirmed. Begin containment protocol. Mark 3 additional carriers. Prep route 6. Then silence. My monitor went black. Laptop shut down on its own. And in the reflection of the screen, I swear I saw someone standing behind me. I turned. No one there. But my chair had shifted back an inch, like someone had been leaning over me. And now every digital screen I pass flickers when I walk by. I saw a Starlink satellite pass overhead tonight, and it stopped mid-sky for half a second, then blinked out. Just gone. I looked up that third coordinate from the video, the one in Germany. I posted it in a Reddit conspiracy forum, pretending it was just ARG stuff. Some guy messaged me directly, claimed he was former NATO intelligence. His message said, "Don't pursue node 13, it's not human. And the bikes are not bikes, they're carriers. You're not tracking something. You are the beacon. Then, 15 minutes later, his entire Reddit account vanished. And the worst part? Tonight, while I was brushing my teeth, my TikTok feed refreshed itself automatically. A video popped up. Black screen, white text, no sound. It said, "You opened the broadcast. The countdown has begun. 4 hours until breach." Then it vanished. The current time, 12:43 a.m., which means I have exactly 4 hours and 1 minute left. Until what? I don't know, but the mark on my neck is glowing, and outside my window, the sky just flashed blue. If this gets deleted, if you never hear from me again, check those coordinates. Someone out there needs to know we're not alone. We never were. The bikes weren't sent to find us. They were sent to activate us. This is it, the final part. And I don't know if I'll ever be able to post again after this. I'm not typing this from home. I'm not even in Idaho anymore. I don't know where I am exactly, but I know I'm being watched. And I know what the countdown was for now. I know what the bikes really are. I know what the mark on my neck means. And I know why that flash drive was given to me. I also know that everything I'm about to say is going to sound fake, like some Netflix sci-fi horror series with a Reddit marketing budget. But I swear on my life, this happened. It's still happening. And now I finally understand what they needed humans for. 01. The countdown hit 0. Last part ended with that message on my phone. 4 hours until breach. At first I thought it was some kind of threat, like aliens were going to invade, or I was going to get abducted, or maybe the bike was going to transform into a chestburster and rip me in half. I couldn't have been more wrong. At exactly 4:44 a.m., I wasn't asleep. I didn't even blink. I was sitting in my living room with every light on, phone unplugged, laptop closed, TV turned face down, like a vampire mirror. And then I heard it again. That clicking sound, not from outside the window, from inside the walls, like something had activated. And then the power cut. Every device, total blackout. No hum of the fridge, no streetlights outside, no glow from the Wi-Fi router. Dead silence. Then, a frequency. Not sound. Not a voice. Something between those. Like a tone that wasn't meant for human ears. It didn't travel through the air. It vibrated in my bones, my teeth, my skull. And every time it pulsed, the mark on my neck burned. Not like a rash. Like something was receiving. I wasn't just hearing the signal. I was part of it. 2. The crash was never an accident. Here's what I figured out. Those coordinates I saw on the flash drive video, the Atacama Desert, the place in Germany, and the one in Idaho, those aren't random discovery sites. They're impact points, but not UFO crashes, landings, encoded landings, objects buried on purpose, not wrecked. What I saw at Craters of the Moon wasn't the top of something underground. It was the tip, like the antenna of something so big and so old the earth built over it. And the bikes? The bikes aren't alien tech. They're keys. Human-made keys to something we didn't design. Somebody, government, private contractor, maybe even a group that doesn't exist on paper, figured out how to sync a modern device to an object not from Earth. But the object needs a carrier, a bioreceiver, a human. That's why the GPS didn't track a location. It tracked me. That's why the KTM wasn't stolen. It was delivered. I wasn't the buyer. I was the activation point. 03. The map didn't lead me to the ship. It led the ship to me. I didn't understand this until I checked my Find My iPhone history. Somehow, even while the device was off, it still pinged several times, while I was at craters of the moon, and the signal wasn't going out. It was being reflected. I was the beacon, and when the countdown reached 0, something answered. 4. The sky tore open. No dramatic UFO disc, no glowing saucer, no Independence Day mothership. Just a flash, a silent flash, like lightning, but frozen in place. A column of blue-white light shot straight down in a perfect cylinder, maybe a mile wide, about 5 minutes from my house. I don't know how to explain this next part, except just say it. The light wasn't light. It was geometry. It looked like math. Spirals, fractals, impossible angles, symbols I'd seen burned into the Starbucks menu and chalked onto sidewalks. And at the center of it all, something was coming out. Not a ship, not a creature, a structure, like a building unfolding through dimensions, sliding into our world like someone peeled space open. And the sound, God, the sound, was like millions of voices layered through a machine, like time itself was screaming. I don't know how long I watched. I don't remember if I fell, blacked out, or was pulled. But when I opened my eyes again, I wasn't home. I was inside. 05. The room that wasn't a room. It was pitch black except for the faint glow of symbols on the floor. Same design from Craters of the Moon, from the TikTok video, from the flash drive. Except now they were moving, like a living circuit board. And in front of me was the KTM. Not mine. All of them. Dozens, maybe hundreds. Different models, all glowing softly, connected by some kind of cable veins running into the walls. And behind them, people, standing upright, eyes open, not blinking, not breathing. Every one of them had the same mark on the back of their neck. Some were in uniforms, some wearing hospital gowns. Some looked like they came straight from normal life. Hoodies, work boots, even a high-vis vest, like someone left a construction site mid-shift. All of them staring at the wall. And the wall was alive, pulsing like lungs, projecting images, locations, faces, star maps, broadcast schedules. This wasn't an invasion. It was a network, a living network. We weren't being experimented on. We were being integrated. 06. I saw myself. The wall shifted, and it showed my face. Not a reflection. A recording. Future tense. Me, with pale skin, empty eyes, and the mark burned so deep, it glowed like a fresh brand. The broadcast audio played behind it. Carrier 14 synchronized. External world irrelevant. Next receivers en route. Begin global phase. And then the wall spoke in English for the first time. Not with sound, but straight into my brain. You are not chosen. You are used. The signal spreads through you. And you brought it back. 7. The escape. I don't remember how I got out. I just remember running, sprinting through halls that weren't halls, past machines that weren't machines, screaming through a place that bent in directions floors don't normally go. I saw a flashing exit symbol and went for it. But as soon as I passed through, I wasn't outdoors. I was in another crater, not Idaho. Different terrain, mountainous, snow. Behind me, the thing, the ship, the network, whatever, folded itself closed. The column of light snapped inward like someone pulled a curtain, and then, gone. No sound, no explosion, no smoke. Just a dead, silent crater and cold air, and a single KTM behind me, engine already running, like it was waiting. 8. What I know now. There are more sites like Idaho, a lot more. The bikes are tracking, sinking, and awakening marked humans. The flash drive wasn't a warning. It was a briefing. The voice wasn't trying to communicate with us. It was programming us. And the biggest truth, the crash was staged, so we'd think it was a discovery. It wasn't a UFO accident. It was a distribution drop. We're not uncovering alien tech. We're installing their infrastructure. The humans who investigate become the nodes. The chosen ones aren't special. They're repeaters. And now I'm one of them. 9. What comes next? I don't know how long I have before the network retraces me. Every time I try to sleep, I hear the frequency again. My phone turns on, even when the battery says 0%. Every reflective surface glitches my face for a second before correcting itself. I can feel something counting down again, and I keep seeing a phrase appear in random places, on YouTube captions, in Discord autosuggest, even on the Google Maps preview. Cycle 2 begins, which means there was already a Cycle 1, which means this was never the beginning. 10. If you're reading this, you might already be marked. If your screens glitch, if you hear clicks in dead silence, if ads show you places you've never been, if symbols show up where they shouldn't, if you feel like you're being updated, don't follow the map. Don't scan the code. Don't claim anything online that feels like it chose you. Because I finally get it now. The dark web wasn't where the bikes were sold. It's where they were released. And the real question isn't who's controlling us. It's what we're being prepared to control next. If this post disappears, if my account goes dark, if you don't hear from me again, check the sky at 4:44 a.m. Look for the triangle. And if a bike shows up at your door, don't ride it. You won't be driving it. It'll be driving you. I messed last year on the dark web on Halloween night. So today is my least favorite day of the year because it's when he visits. Alright, before I even start this story, I want to make one thing super clear. I don't care if you believe me or not. I'm not writing this for upvotes. I'm not trying to be the next Creepypasta author or whatever. I'm just tired. Tired of waiting. Tired of checking every shadow. Tired of today. Because it's Halloween again. And every Halloween since last year, he shows up. I don't know what he is. A man, a thing, a punishment. But every October 31st since last year, I feel him breathing through my walls. I hear footsteps when I live alone. I find things out of place. And I smell that damn cologne. He wears this nasty, almost sweet scent. Like melted rubber and fake flowers, the kind they use in funeral homes. And it all started because I was a dumbass bored college sophomore, scrolling Reddit, TikTok, and Instagram at 2 a.m. in my crappy little dorm room. October 31st, 2024. The mistake. It was Halloween night, and I had no plans. Everyone else was out drinking or dressing up as anime characters or whatever, but I was just in bed, hoodie on, scrolling. I got one of those spammy DMs on Instagram. You know the type. A throwaway account with a profile pic of a girl who looks too hot to be messaging me. Only, this one wasn't offering crypto scams or premium content. She just sent me a link and wrote, I saw you in the stream last night. Do you want to see what they do on Halloween? No context. Just that. Now, yeah, I know how stupid I am. Everyone does dumb stuff when they're tired and bored and think they're invincible. I clicked. It redirected to a site that was just a black screen with one button. Enter. At first I thought it was one of those ARG type things people do for fun. Looked like a Creepypasta YouTube channel or something. The vibes were straight outta, here's my story, meets don't hug me. I'm scared. You know, those weird adult horror animation types. Super weird, super not real. So I clicked enter, and I swear to God, the second I did, my lights flickered. I thought it was just a coincidence. College dorms are always janky, right? Anyway, the screen loaded into this chat room. It was old school, like early 2000s style. Gray background, fixed width font. Usernames like S1L3NCE and BOILEDM1LK popping up and leaving. In the center of the screen, there was a live feed. At first, it was just a dimly lit room. One old folding chair, a hanging light bulb swaying like there was wind, but there were no windows. Then someone walked into frame. He wore this oversized red hoodie, faded and wet-looking, and a rubber mask that looked like a toddler's face stretched too tight. The mouth was always smiling, but the eyes were hollow. He looked right into the camera and pointed at me, or at least it felt like it. I actually laughed at first. I thought, okay, this is a well-done prank. But then I got another message, not from the chat, from the site. It just said, you're watching. Now you're part of the night. The rules. The screen glitched. Text started scrolling like a terminal. Halloween. Rules: do not stop watching. Do not close the tab. If you're chosen, you must answer. Never tell anyone. If you make it to morning, you're safe. Time remaining, 6 hours, 22 minutes. I remember my heart just sinking. I tried to Alt plus F4. Nothing. Tried to power off my laptop. Black screen, but the audio kept playing. Footsteps, rustling, heavy breathing, and under it all, this music box melody playing something close to Ring Around the Rosie, but off, like slowed down and reversed. I got up, tried unplugging the whole thing. Nothing worked. The screen just turned on again by itself, showing a new scene. Now it was outside, like a gas station or something. I saw a blurry Starbucks sign in the back, so I figured this was real time, somewhere in the States. And in the middle of the screen was the same guy. Hoodie, mask. This time, he was dragging something. A black garbage bag that left a trail behind it. The first victim. Then, he pointed again. But this time, a username lit up on the screen. U/CoffeeLover94. The chat exploded. LMAONOWASHEWASTTALKING. Oh my god, he's going to her house. What the hell is this? I tried typing in the chat, but I couldn't. My keyboard wasn't responding. The only thing I could do was watch. On the feed, I saw him walk up to a house, ring the doorbell. A girl opened the door, looked confused, then screamed and tried to shut it. Too late. He was inside. We didn't see what happened next. The camera cut to black, but we heard it. And I swear, it was real. Like you could hear furniture breaking, screaming, something sharp cutting something soft, and the music box kept playing louder and louder, like it was trying to drown it all out. Then silence. Chat went quiet too, and then came the part that made my stomach drop. The screen glitched again, and this time it said, next, finding viewer location, scanning IP, verified, redacted city, Texas confirmed, mail, college campus, BLDGC. That was me. I slammed my laptop shut. Didn't matter. The music box kept playing. Happy Halloween, Michael. Then I heard it. A whisper, but not through the laptop. From my door. He whispered my name. Happy Halloween, Michael. Nobody should know my name. Nobody should be able to find me from a random Insta DM and a browser. I didn't sleep that night. I kept the lights on, barricaded the door, slept holding a pocket knife. I got off Amazon for $10. Nothing happened. But at 7:01 a.m., I opened my laptop. The site was gone. Just a 404 error. My browser history? Erased. Even my cache was clean. But on my desktop, someone left a file. It was called seeyousoon.mp4. It was just 10 seconds long. That mask. That same rubber toddler face. But this time, it was in my dorm hallway. And he waved. I've never talked about this before, but it's Halloween again, and I swear I heard something outside my window tonight. He always comes back. And this time, I don't think I'm making it to morning. Alright, you all asked for part 2, and I wasn't sure I'd even be here to post it. It's been a full 24 hours since Halloween night ended, and somehow, I'm still breathing. But I don't think I'm safe. I don't even know what safe means anymore. If you haven't read part 1, go do that first, or this won't make sense. Short version. I clicked into a weird live stream on the dark web last Halloween. I watched someone die. Then it said I was next. Then a file appeared on my laptop, showing the masked guy in my hallway. I didn't sleep right for months. And this year, yeah, it happened again, but worse. The year that followed. Let me tell you something most people don't get about trauma like this. It doesn't just hit you once and fade away. It's like an app running in the background of your brain 24/7. Every time I walked home from class, I checked behind me. Every time I microwaved a frozen burrito in the dorm lounge, I watched the door like a hawk. I transferred dorms the next semester, blocked the girl who sent the DM, wiped my laptop, bought a new router, even used a VPN and switched to Brave browser like one of those paranoid Redditors. Didn't matter. Weird stuff kept happening. Little things, but personal. Like I'd find my bathroom light on when I knew I'd turned it off. Or I'd wake up to my laptop open, even though I always shut it. Once, I found a receipt in my hoodie pocket from a McDonald's in another city, like 200 miles away. At 3:23 a.m., I hadn't left campus all week, but the worst thing was the dreams. They didn't feel like dreams. They felt like him watching me dream. I'd wake up and the air would feel thicker, like someone was just in the room a second before. I told myself I was paranoid. My roommate said I was just anxious from overloading credits, but I never told anyone what really happened last Halloween, because I remembered rule number 4. Never tell anyone. October 31st, 2025. The return. I wasn't even home for Halloween this year. I made sure of that. My girlfriend at the time, let's call her Asha, invited me to visit her family in Toronto, where they were doing this massive Halloween food fest thing downtown, like carnival rides, live music, all that. I said yes instantly. I thought if I changed my location, maybe I'd avoid it. Maybe it was tied to my IP or address or something. Halloween night. We were walking through the fest. I was actually smiling for once. You know? Fake fog machines blasting, people in costumes handing out candy. Some dude was dressed as Freddy Fazbear and dancing like he was off 2 energy drinks and 0 sleep. It was normal. But then Asha pointed to this guy in a red hoodie across the street. "Hey," she said, "isn't that the same hoodie you have?" I looked, and my whole body locked up. It wasn't just the hoodie. It was him. The toddler mask. The way he stood still while everyone around him moved, like a frame frozen in a video while the world kept playing. He was just standing across the street by a Starbucks, not doing anything, not moving, but I swear on everything, he was facing me. I blinked. Gone. Not like he walked away. I mean gone. 1 second there, Next second, nothing. No one noticed but me. I told Asha I had food poisoning and made her Uber us back to her parents' place early. And that's when it really started. The game begins again at 2:17 a.m. I woke up to this low humming sound coming from my laptop bag. Not a notification, not a ringtone. A hum. I pulled my laptop out and opened it. Guess what I saw? Same black screen, same enter button. I didn't click it, didn't have to. The second the screen fully loaded, it clicked itself. Then the terminal-style text started scrolling again. Welcome back, Michael. You watched, you left. That's a violation. Halloween rules, enforced. Never leave early, never move far, never tell, never escape. Retribution begins in 0, 3:26, 10. I slammed the lid shut, tossed the laptop across the room. It didn't matter. My phone lit up. Airdrop request. No name, no contact. Just a file named Halloween_visit 2025.mp4. I accepted it. I don't even know why. It was pure instinct. The video opened with that same music box sound. Then the footage showed someone standing outside a door. Same red hoodie. Same toddler mask. But the camera was chest level, like he was holding it himself. I watched in horror as he turned the doorknob. My girlfriend's parents' house. He was already inside. I could hear him breathing. The video ended abruptly, just cut to black. And right then, I heard it. The floorboard creaked in the hallway outside the guest room we were staying in. I didn't open the door. I grabbed my backpack, grabbed Asha, and we climbed out the goddamn window. We went to a 24/7 Tim Hortons nearby and just sat there until morning. No sleep, no talking. I still haven't told her the full truth. I can't, because I don't know if telling someone triggers something worse. This morning, the mark, when I got back to the room this morning, everything looked untouched, except on the mirror in dry erase marker, someone had written, "One more year, Michael. Next time, you'll stay for the whole show." And under that, a crude smiley face, drawn with circles for eyes, but the left eye was X'd out, the same smiley I saw on the garbage bag the man dragged last year. I don't know what this is. Some kind of cursed site, cult, high-tech stalking horror game. But I know this. It's not over. Not even close. Because this isn't a dream. This isn't a prank. He visits every year, and he's not done with me yet. I saved the airdrop video file. I'll post screenshots if I can blur the location. But I swear to you, he's real. Okay, this is getting worse. Not just for me, for the people around me too. I wasn't planning on posting this today. I wanted to wait until I got back to the States. Maybe try to get a priest involved or a hacker or, I don't know, anyone smarter than me. But then something happened tonight, November 3rd, and now I can't keep quiet anymore. I'll explain. But first, I need to walk you through what happened the day after Halloween. If you haven't read part 1 or 2, do that first, because things just escalated past what I can handle, and I have no idea who's going to survive part 4. November 1st, 2025. The feed keeps playing. I woke up around 6 p.m. that day. Yeah, evening. I had barely gotten any sleep the night before. What with the guy in the red hoodie breaking into the house and leaving a message on the bathroom mirror. Asha was silent. She didn't even question what happened. She just kept looking over her shoulder like she was waiting for someone to follow us. The weird part is, nothing was stolen, nothing was moved, but her dad's dog, a golden retriever named Louis. He wouldn't go near the guest room, just stood outside the door and growled like there was something inside. That's when I decided to open my laptop again. I had to know if the site was still there. I powered it up. It booted straight into the feed. No login, no password, no browser tab, just the live stream. Still running, still showing him, except this time it was a countdown. There were no other usernames in the chat this time. No weird edgy handles, no spam messages, just one text on the screen. November 3rd, 10:07 p.m. Watch closely. And beneath that, a grid of live video feeds, like a security cam system. 8 boxes, all different angles. Some showed what looked like city streets. Others, dark basements or parking garages. One was inside a Wendy's, completely empty. Another one, I swear to God, showed my college dorm lounge, the vending machine, the brown corduroy couch, that stupid "Keep Calm and Study On" poster someone taped up last year. All live, all real. I checked the system time, November 1st, which meant I had 2 days before 10:07 p.m. The Reddit DM. That night, I opened Reddit just to distract myself. I made a throwaway to check if anyone else had experienced anything similar. Dark web horror stories, red hoodie figures, cursed live streams, whatever. I searched everything from r/no sleep to the deep archive stuff in r/deep web and r/unresolved mysteries. Nothing matched, but I did get a DM. It was from a user named @x_I247, and the message just said, "He's feeding again. He picks 8. 1 gets chosen. 7 disappear." There was no other info, no replies. The account was deleted 5 minutes after I got the message. November 2nd, surveillance. Everywhere. I started watching the live stream constantly. The feeds were getting closer. The Wendy's? It started showing people inside. Customers, cashiers, like it was tracking normal places. The city street feed? It was now showing the corner outside my dorm building. I hadn't been there in months. And then, the most messed up one popped up. A feed showing the inside of a bedroom. Not just any bedroom. Mine. From when I was still living in Houston. It was old. My posters were still there. My cracked ceiling fan. The crooked shelf I built myself during quarantine. All of it. Live. Like someone was inside right now, watching through a camera I never installed. I called my landlord, told him I thought someone had broken in. He said the unit had been vacant all year, that no one had been inside. I asked him to check. He said sure. He'd go over that night. Guess what time he called me back? 10:07 p.m. The phone call. I was sitting on the couch when my phone rang. Unknown number. I almost didn't pick up, but when I answered, I just heard breathing. Then, through what sounded like a cheap walkie-talkie speaker, a voice said, "You left your closet door open, Michael." I hung up instantly. My laptop screen, it glitched. Static. Then showed a full screen feed of my old bedroom again. The closet door was open, and someone was standing inside it. Just standing, completely still, face in shadow. I closed the laptop, threw it across the room again. Didn't matter. Tonight, November 3rd, the disappearance. I was back in Texas by now. I flew out early, alone. I lied to Asha and said my cousin was in the hospital, or some other excuse. I just wanted her far away. I thought maybe, if I was the one being targeted, I could isolate the danger. Tonight, at exactly 10:07 p.m., the live stream started playing again. This time, without my laptop even being open, it played on my TV. I was using a Roku. I don't even know how that's possible. The screen showed all 8 feeds again, and one by one, they began going black. Feed 1, a parking garage in Chicago. A man in a business suit was walking to his car. He dropped his keys, bent down to pick them up. Gone. Feed 2, the Wendy's. The night shift guy was refilling the Coke machine. The camera started to tilt, like it was moving on its own. Gone. Feed 3, a mall in Dubai. Feed 4, a train station in Tokyo. Feed 5, a random street in Berlin. All feeds, one by one, cut to static. And then, feed 8, my dorm lounge. The vending machine's light flickered. The couch was empty. Then someone walked in, wearing that red hoodie, stood in the center of the lounge, looked up at the camera, and held up a sign that said, "Choice made." Then all the screens cut to black. My roommate is missing. I got a text from my old college roommate's girlfriend an hour ago. She said he never came back to his dorm tonight. Said he was hanging out in the lounge to study. Around 10 p.m., that was the last anyone saw of him. The RA checked the building. His stuff's still there. His phone is still plugged in on his desk. But he's just gone. Like he melted out of existence. I haven't told anyone, because I know what they'll think. But I recognized that lounge, and I saw what happened. He wasn't taken randomly. He was taken because I was supposed to be there. What the hell is this? I don't know what this is. Some kind of yearly hunt. A game. A punishment. All I know is, this thing, this red-hooded freak with the toddler mask, he's selecting people, watching them, waiting until Halloween to feed. And every time, he leaves a message. After the feed ended tonight, my phone buzzed. No number, just one image, a blurry photo of me, taken from behind. I'm in a grocery store, pushing a cart. You can see my backpack. It was from earlier that day. I hadn't posted it anywhere. No stories, no Snapchats, no location tags. But somehow, he was there. He watches me in the daylight. Now, this was supposed to be seasonal, Halloween only, but now I think the rules are changing. Or maybe there never were rules to begin with. Maybe it was always just him, watching, waiting, and now that I tried to escape again, someone else paid the price. I still have the DM screenshots. I'm thinking about uploading them with some of the camera feed stills I took. Let me know if you want to see them. But for now, if you get a strange Instagram DM with a live stream link, don't click it. Not even out of curiosity. Because once you watch, you're already part of the show. I don't even know how to start this part anymore. My hands are shaking while I'm typing this, but I need to get it out before I lose the nerve. Or before he decides I've said too much. Because something happened today. And for the first time, I think I'm not the only one he's chosen before. Or the only one still alive. But I'll explain. Everything. Step by step. The missing roommate. Update. So, in part 3, I told you my old college roommate, Jason, vanished from the dorm lounge at exactly the moment the live stream feed went dark. His girlfriend hasn't heard from him. His parents are flying down. Campus police are calling it possible voluntary disappearance, which is just a fancy way of saying we have no idea what the hell happened. I knew it wasn't voluntary. I saw the feed. I saw the red hoodie. I saw the sign. Choice made. I knew Jason was gone because I wasn't where I was supposed to be. That guilt has been eating me alive all day. But here's the part that made things worse. This morning, I got a text from an unknown number. He took my brother last year. We need to talk. Attached was a photo, a screenshot of the same live stream interface I saw. Same black background, same old computer font, same enter button, except this screenshot was from 2019. I'm not the first, and I'm not the last. So I called the number. A woman picked up. Her voice was low, rough, like she hasn't slept right in years. Her name is Naomi. She said her younger brother, the same age as me, disappeared the exact same way. Halloween night, 2019. Senior year of high school. She said he clicked a link someone sent him in a Discord server. Believed it was just some messed up dark web Halloween live show. He watched, and then 3 days later, he vanished. No ransom, no body, no trail, not even a digital footprint left behind. She said the feed showed 8 live cams too, just like mine. Parking lot, basement, fast food, empty hallway, living room, etc. Everything I described, she already knew. She also said something else, something that made my blood run cold. Every year, the guy with the mask takes one person from the live stream watchers. The others, they slowly disappear over the next few months in different parts of the world. I asked her how many people she thinks have been taken in total. She said, more than 100, maybe way more. The pattern she found. Naomi has been trying to track this thing down for 4 years. She's found forum posts that got deleted. She's found ghost accounts on Reddit, Steam, 4chan, Instagram, all saying variations of the same thing. Saw a weird masked guy on a live Halloween stream. He pointed at the camera. Now I think he's watching me. Someone vanished on my campus. All the posts are gone now. Accounts scrubbed, like someone cleaned the internet. She said even the Wayback Machine can't pull them up. The only way she contacted me was because of a screenshot she found floating around in a private Telegram group. Someone posted my part 1 story there. She recognized the layout of the feed from her brother's experience. That means someone is distributing this story outside Reddit, and I didn't post it anywhere else. So either he is watching this thread, or someone else is tracking this thing too. The masked one, Naomi said there's a nickname the few survivors online use for him. They call him the masked one who chooses. She said the toddler mask isn't just a creepy costume, it's symbolic. I asked, symbolic of what? She said 4 words, children don't feel guilt. And suddenly, I understood the smile, the blank, unblinking face, the fake innocence, the way he tilts his head when he looks into the camera. He's not pretending to be human. He's pretending to be something that hurts without remorse. The 3 rules Naomi gave me. Before she hung up, she told me this. You're not safe, even off Halloween now. The longer you stay alive, the more you break his rhythm. He doesn't like that. So listen carefully. Never watch the live stream again, even out of curiosity. He sees everyone who watches. Never say his name out loud. She wouldn't even tell me what she believed his real name is. Never stay in the same location longer than a week. He waits. He learns routines. Then he enters. And then she said this. If you see 3 X's written anywhere in public, run. That means he's already marked the area. She was about to say something else. Something I could hear her choking up over. Then the call dropped. When I tried calling back, number no longer in service. I don't know if she hung up, or if something happened to her mid-sentence. The mark just appeared. 20 minutes ago, I decided to walk outside just to breathe. I'm staying in an Airbnb in Austin right now. Middle of a quiet neighborhood. Nothing creepy, right? I turned the corner near the intersection. and spray painted on the side of a mail drop box were 3 symbols, not graffiti, not gang tags, just 3 X's, 3 black X's, stacked vertically, like someone drew them in a rush. They were still wet. Someone just marked this area. No more coincidences. This isn't a ghost, not a curse, not a random killer. This is a system, a cycle, and somehow, I'm not just prey, I'm interfering with it. Jason disappeared because I wasn't there. That empty dorm lounge feed, that used to be my room every year. I broke his pattern, and now he's correcting it. One person at a time. Final message. I got tonight. Before I started writing this post, I checked my email. I got 1 new message. No sender, no subject, just 1 sentence. If you keep telling the story, you'll never know which year is your last. And attached to it, a photo. It's me, typing this, right now, from outside my window. I don't see anyone out there, but I know he was, or he still is, or he never left. If you're reading this, it means I hit post, and that means I've officially broken every rule he ever gave me, because I'm finishing this story, and I'm finishing it, knowing what that probably means. So this is it, the final part. No cliffhangers, no to be continued, no teasers. This is where everything comes full circle, because I finally know what he is. I finally know what the live stream is, and I finally know what happens to the people who disappear. But before I explain that, I need to tell you what happened last night. The camera in the wall. Right after I finished part 4, I checked outside the window. I didn't see anyone, but I felt someone. The air wasn't empty. There was pressure, like the room itself was watching me breathe. I turned the lights off, laid in bed, and tried to sleep. 30 minutes later, I heard it. A soft, clicking sound. Not tapping, not footsteps. A mechanical sound. Click, click, click. Coming from behind the drywall, right above the head of the bed. I got up, pressed my ear against the wall. The clicking stopped. Then, I heard breathing. Not normal breathing. Not like a neighbor through the wall. It was slow, deep, up close, like someone was on the other side of the wall, inches from me, listening. I backed up and turned on my phone flashlight. That's when I saw it. A tiny, perfect hole. Not like damage, not like mold or cracks. A camera hole, the size of a pencil tip. And I swear, I saw movement inside it. Something shifting, something alive, something waiting. The final live stream. My phone buzzed while I was still staring at the wall. No caller ID, just this message. Watch, final feed starts now. Then my TV turned on by itself again. No remote, no input, no HDMI, just the live stream. Only this time, there was no 8-cam layout, no locations, no countdown, just one single feed. A dark room, concrete floor, one metal folding chair facing the camera. And tied to the chair was Jason, my old roommate. His head was covered with a pillowcase, his hands duct taped, chest rising slowly, like he was breathing through panic. And behind him, the red hoodie, the toddler mask, the smile carved too wide. He stood there, just standing, not moving, not speaking, not threatening, just waiting. Then text appeared over the feed. You took his place. He took yours. That's when I understood. He's not just hunting people. He's replacing them. The rotation. Every year, 8 people watch the live stream. 7 disappear. 1 survives, but only because someone else becomes the new watcher. And the one who survives, they become part of the cycle. They're not free. They're just moved up. New role. Same fate. You don't escape the live stream. You just change which side you're on. The last message from Naomi at 3:14 a.m. I got a text from Naomi again. Even though her number was supposedly disconnected, it said, "He doesn't kill all of them. Some of them get turned into watchers, some into collectors, some into placeholders. You never stop being part of it. You just change positions." Then she sent a second message. "If you post the final part, you become permanent." And a third message. "I posted mine in 2020. I haven't slept indoors since." Then she sent a picture. It was her, standing in a forest, holding a flip phone, dark bags under her eyes, hair a mess, and behind her, blurred, in the trees, the red hoodie. I know what he wants. Now, it's not about killing. It's about participation. It's about being part of the story. Once you've watched, you're part of the ritual. Once you've told the story, you're part of the network. Once others read it, they become part too. It spreads through eyes, not blood, through watchers, not victims, because the live stream isn't just a live stream, it's a recruitment system. And now I have a choice. If I delete this story, maybe I get another year. If I stop posting, maybe someone else stays alive. If I stay silent, maybe I survive. But I already broke the rule. Rule number 4, never tell anyone. So I'm doing the one thing I have left. I'm finishing it. Because if I'm going down, I want everyone to know how this works. Not to save me, but to make sure no one mistakes this for just another creepypasta. The final file right, before I started writing this, a new file appeared on my laptop. No extension, just called, "You're ready." I opened it. It was a mirror feed, my webcam, except it wasn't pointing at me. It was pointing behind me. And someone was standing there, red hoodie, mask, closer than ever. I turned around. No one there, but the feed still showed him, standing behind me, breathing, waiting. I finally get it. He never needs to break into houses. He never needs to chase anyone, because he doesn't have to be there physically. Once you watch him, once you become part of the cycle, he lives in the camera. He lives in the feed. He lives in the moment someone is afraid he's right behind them. Which means, if you read this far, you've already seen him. You've already imagined him, standing in your doorway, behind your shower curtain, on the stairs while the lights are off. You participated, and that's all he ever needed. One last thing before I go. If, at any point in the next week, you see this, X, 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 on a wall, or a door, or the sidewalk, don't stop walking. Don't look around. Don't turn back. And most importantly, do not go home. Because if that mark is near where you live, he already picked you. If I stop posting after this, you know why. If something happens to me, don't try to help. Just remember this. He doesn't follow you because he hates you. He follows you because you watched, and watchers never walk away. Good luck. And don't click strange links, because the enter button is still out there, waiting for the next person who thinks nothing bad ever happens to them. I found a job on the dark web to manage a museum full of cursed objects. My boss says it's just junk from the old town. Alright, I never thought I'd be the type of person to post one of these creepypasta things, but after what happened to me over the past few weeks, I just needed to get it out there. Maybe someone else has seen what I've seen. Maybe I'm not going crazy. Maybe I'm not the only one. So yeah, here goes. I'm a 25-year-old guy, kinda average, Nothing special. I live alone in a studio apartment just outside of Pittsburgh. Rent's cheap, Wi-Fi's decent, and there's a 24/7 McDonald's a block away. So I'm living the dream, I guess. I used to work remotely doing customer support for a third-party Amazon seller, but they laid off a bunch of us around the end of August. I'd been out of work for 3 months, and my savings were getting scary low, like eating instant ramen every day low. I tried applying for every normal job I could find. Indeed, LinkedIn, Craigslist. Nothing. Nobody was biting. I even applied to be one of those sign spinners outside a mattress store. Then I found something weird. I was on Reddit at like 3 a.m., scrolling through r/work reform, and someone mentioned finding odd job listings on the deep web, stuff that didn't show up on regular search engines. I'm not a hacker or anything, but I do know how to use Tor. So, yeah, curiosity got the better of me. I booted up my laptop, turned off all my lights, because that's what you do when you're on the deep web, right? And logged into Tor. I ended up on this super basic looking site called JobSpireNet or something like that. It had this white text on black background layout that looked like it hadn't been updated since 2002. Most of the listings were either scams or just bizarre, like one asking for someone to watch a forest overnight and record anything that speaks in reverse. I was about to close the tab when I saw this one post that stood out. Caretaker needed, antique museum, overnight shifts, $7,500 per month. No questions asked. That was the title. The listing itself just said, seeking discreet, responsible individual to oversee overnight operations of a private museum. Duties include light cleaning, inventory check, and ensuring no objects are tampered with. Must have a high tolerance for unusual behavior and a strong stomach. Room and board included. Interviews conducted immediately via secure chat. Must sign NDA before further details provided. No company name, no location, just a green button that said, apply now. Look, I know how this sounds. I know it screams scam, or trafficking, or something even worse. But I was tired, broke, and honestly, kinda desperate. And $7,500 a month. So I clicked. Almost instantly, a chat window popped up in the corner. Like, instantly. No loading, no delay. It felt like someone was already waiting on the other side. Here's how the convo went. I took a screenshot. Still have it on my phone. Them. Thank you for your interest. Do you consent to a remote interview under NDA? Me. Sure, I guess. Them. A verbal NDA will suffice for now. Do you agree not to share anything we discuss in this interview? Me. Yeah, I agree. Them. Good. Tell me, are you comfortable being alone overnight with historic artifacts, some of which have unusual reputations? Me. Yeah, I guess. I mean, I've watched like every episode of Ghost Adventures. LOL. Them. Excellent. We've selected you. You will report to the address provided within 48 hours. Do not attempt to research the location. Your first night begins immediately after orientation. Do not bring guests. Do not touch any object unless instructed. Do not break the circle. And then the window closed. Like, it literally closed itself. I didn't even get a chance to respond or say anything. My screen just went black for a second, and then I was back on my Tor homepage. The weirdest part? About 2 minutes later, I got a ping on my Gmail from an address that looked like it was generated randomly, just a string of numbers and letters. Inside was a Google Maps pin. No name, just coordinates. The location? Some tiny town in upstate New York called Mill Hollow. I looked it up on my regular browser. It's barely on the map. Like one grocery store, one gas station, population of maybe 600 people. No official website, no Instagram geotags. The kind of town that doesn't even have a Starbucks. But it did have a bus route, surprisingly. And the message said room and board was included. So I figured, screw it. What do I have to lose? 2 days later, I was on a Greyhound with my busted duffel bag and a dying iPhone, heading toward a place I'd never heard of, for a job I couldn't explain, at a museum that didn't seem to exist online. I got there just after sunset. The bus driver didn't even stop at a station. He just pulled off on this gravel road next to a rusted out mailbox with no name on it and told me, "This is you." I remember standing there in the cold, watching the bus disappear into the trees behind me, wondering if this was the stupidest decision I'd ever made. And then I saw it. Down the road, barely visible in the fog, was this huge, ancient-looking building with a crooked iron gate and a sign above it that just said, Mill Hollow, Historical Archive and Oddities Museum. It didn't even look open. No lights in the windows. Just this towering Gothic building that looked like something out of a Haunted Mansion ride at Disney World. There was a figure standing at the gate. A tall guy in a trench coat and wide-brimmed hat. He waved me over, super slow, like a scene from a horror movie. I was shaking at this point, not gonna lie, but something kept me moving. He didn't speak much, just handed me a folder, told me the orientation would begin at midnight, and led me inside. The walls were lined with glass cases filled with stuff that honestly looked like straight-up garbage, like broken dolls, melted candles, old carnival signs, and boxes labeled in weird, looping handwriting. One case had an old McDonald's Happy Meal box sealed behind bulletproof glass. No joke. The guy, who eventually introduced himself as Mr. Warren, gave me a brief tour. There were rules, of course. Every horror job has rules, right? But these were specific. Here's what I remember. Don't enter any room that's locked, even if you hear noises inside. Don't answer the rotary phone in the lobby. It's not connected to anything. Every hour on the hour, walk the perimeter and check that no objects have moved. Never touch the mannequins in the Colonial Shadows exhibit, even if they fall over. And the last one, the one he said very slowly, do not, under any circumstances, break the salt circle in the center of the east wing. I asked him what would happen if I did. He looked me dead in the eye and said, "We don't talk about the east wing. Just don't break the circle." Then he handed me a vintage walkie-talkie, no phone reception in the whole building, pointed to a rickety cot in the break room, and said, "Your shift starts now." I watched him leave through the front doors and lock them behind him. And that's how I ended up alone, in a haunted museum, full of junk from the old town, with nothing but a walkie-talkie, a list of weird rules, and a growing sense that I'd just stepped into something I couldn't walk out of. What I saw on that first night. But here's a hint. Something was already inside the building, and it wasn't part of the exhibit. Alright, so where did I leave off? Right alone. Locked inside a museum with a guy who said, "Don't break the salt circle," like it was just another bullet point on a job orientation checklist. I remember standing in the middle of the lobby after Mr. Warren left, holding that old school walkie-talkie, just listening to the silence. And that silence, it was heavy, like the building was waiting for something. This place didn't feel like a museum. Not really. It was more like a cross between an abandoned asylum and one of those creepy Ripley's believe it or not places, but with none of the tourist energy. Just walls full of artifacts that gave off weird vibes, like they knew I was there. Now, Mr. Warren had left me this tiny laminated schedule taped to a clipboard. It was super simple. Midnight, start of shift, do perimeter check. 1 a.m., inventory walkthrough. 2 a.m., check salt circle, east wing. Don't break it. 3 a.m., final walkthrough. 4 a.m. to 6 a.m., rest allowed. 6 a.m., unlock doors for morning crew. Leave immediately. Sounded easy enough, except I was already on edge because I swear I could hear someone walking on the second floor, and I hadn't even started my first lap yet. Anyway, I started with the perimeter walk. I had to go room by room with a flashlight because, of course, the museum didn't believe in modern lighting. It was all flickering sconces and dim bulbs that looked like they hadn't been changed since the 80s. The first couple rooms were normalish, dusty, filled with glass display cases, weird smells. There was a whole section called Objects of Questionable Origin. Yeah, that was its actual name. Inside were items like a rusted music box that played by itself, but only when no one was watching, according to the tag. A wooden mask that was supposedly used in an unrecorded pagan ritual in Slovenia. A black and white photo of a man standing behind a window. The photo looked normal until you moved past it. Then his eyes would follow you. I'm not kidding. I tested it. Back and forth. Back and forth. The eyes moved. I kept telling myself everything in there was probably some trick. Magnets, sensors, maybe even projectors. Rich people love playing games with artifacts, right? Then I got to this room called the Carnival of Echoes. Brother, this is where things started to get messed up. The whole room was themed like an old traveling carnival from the 1930s. They even had this hand-painted sign on the wall that said, Laughing Jack's final show, never to return. There was a broken carousel horse in the center of the room, a bunch of cracked mirrors lining the walls, and the floor was littered with old popcorn and ticket stubs, like someone tried to recreate a scene frozen in time. Creepy, but nothing too wild, until I passed the clown mannequin. You know those mannequins that are too detailed? The ones where the eyes are glass, the smile's just slightly off, and it's wearing a costume that smells faintly of sweat, even though it's supposedly preserved. Yeah, that's what this thing was. But what really got me? As I walked by, it laughed. Not a speaker, not a recording, not some motion-activated toy crap. A low, breathy chuckle, like something with lungs. I spun around and pointed my flashlight directly at its face. It was staring straight ahead, unmoving, hands curled in its lap like a marionette. I backed up slowly, trying not to make a sound. My heart was pounding. Then my walkie crackled to life. Static, then a whisper. Don't look at it. Just walk. I froze. I hadn't touched the walkie. It was clipped to my belt, and no one had said I'd be getting transmissions. I grabbed it, hand shaking, and pressed the talk button. Hello? Mr. Warren? Is that you? Nothing. Just static. And behind me, in the room, I heard footsteps. Slow, deliberate, scraping against the tile floor, like someone was dragging their heel with every step. I didn't turn around. I just walked, exactly like the voice said, fast but not running. And when I passed through the archway into the next room, I slammed the door shut and wedged a broom handle through the lock. I didn't hear the clown again that night, but I also didn't go near that room again. Screw the perimeter check. I checked my phone. 1:47 a.m. I had about 10 minutes before I had to inspect the salt circle in the east wing. Honestly, I almost didn't do it, but curiosity's a bitch, and I figured if I was already knee-deep in weird clown mannequins and talking walkies, I might as well see what the salt thing was all about. The east wing was down a long cold hallway that smelled like mildew and something else, like rotten leaves mixed with copper. You know that smell you get when you bite your lip too hard? Yeah, that. The lights were dimmer there, flickering worse, and when I got to the east wing doors, I saw that someone had scribbled something into the wood, scratched deep, with a knife, maybe. It said, "Don't let it out," and under that, smaller, ITKNOWSYOURNAME. I opened the door slowly. Inside, the whole room was empty, except for a massive salt circle in the middle of the floor, about 10 feet wide, perfectly shaped. The salt was chunky, like sea salt, and glimmered under the low yellow light. And in the middle of it, a chair, just a plain wooden chair, facing the wall, and sitting in that chair was a woman. She didn't move. She didn't speak. She just sat there, hair covering her face, pale hands resting on her lap. She looked like something out of a low-budget horror movie, like The Ring meets Blair Witch, but too real. Her skin looked waxy. Her clothes were old, maybe Victorian or early 1900s, and her head was tilted just slightly, like she was listening. I stood there, frozen, for what felt like hours, but was probably only a few seconds. Then, and I swear to God this happened, she breathed. A long, shaky inhale, like someone waking up from a coma. The sound of her breath echoed in the room like wind through dead trees. I backed away slowly, never taking my eyes off the circle. When I turned to leave, I almost stepped on a small piece of paper by the door. Looked old, like the kind you'd find in a typewriter. I picked it up. It said, "She only moves when the circle is broken." I dropped it and ran. Didn't finish the check. Didn't do the 3 a.m. walkthrough. I just sat in the break room for hours with the lights on, holding the walkie in one hand and a fire extinguisher in the other, like that was gonna help. I didn't sleep. When 6 a.m. rolled around, the front doors unlocked themselves, like I heard the deadbolt slide open. I didn't wait. I grabbed my stuff, bolted outside, and nearly collapsed when I saw sunlight hitting the trees. Mr. Warren was standing by the gate, smoking, like this was just another Tuesday. He didn't say anything, just nodded and said, "See you tonight." And that was my first night. But that wasn't the worst of it. Not by a long shot. Something followed me home after my second shift, and it doesn't show up in mirrors. Okay, yeah, so I wasn't even sure if I was gonna go back, like dead serious. After that first night, the chair, the salt circle, the whisper on the walkie, that should have been enough to nope the hell out. But then, I checked my bank account. They'd wired the money, $3,750, overnight, half the month's pay, just like the contract said. I don't know if it's the recession, student loans, or just the sick part of my brain that likes living close to the edge. But yeah, I went back, because $7,500 for 30 nights of creepy museum stuff? I figured I could handle it. Just needed to keep my head down, follow the rules, and stay away from clowns and creepy chairs in circles of salt. But that second night, That's when things started following me. Outside the museum. I'll explain. So I showed up for shift number 2 around 11:50 p.m. Mr. Warren was already at the gate again. Same trench coat, same cigarette, like some cryptic villain from a Netflix limited series. I asked him, straight up, "Hey man, what's the deal with the lady in the salt circle?" He just raised an eyebrow and said, "Don't talk to her. Don't look at her too long. And for the love of God, don't pity her." Then he handed me a new walkie, this one older, no buttons, looked more like a military field radio from World War II. I asked what happened to the last one. He just muttered, "Too much interference." Then he turned and walked away into the woods. Not down the road, not to a car, into the woods. I didn't even know what to do with that. Anyway, I started the shift same as before. Did the rounds. Skipped the clown room because nope. Gave the salt circle room a wide berth. Everything was quiet. Too quiet, actually. That's what bothered me. The museum had this weird habit of feeling alive. Like the air would shift depending on which room you were in. Some rooms felt cold and tight, like walking into a freezer that hated you. Others felt humid, like someone had just been breathing next to your ear. But that second night, the air was dead, hollow, like someone had turned the whole place off. Around 2:30 a.m., I found a door I swear wasn't there the first night. It was hidden behind one of those rolling wall panels used to cover empty exhibits. The only reason I even saw it was because the panel had been moved just enough to expose the doorknob. No label, just a small brass keyhole. So naturally, I tried it, because I'm apparently a horror movie protagonist now. It was locked, but the second I touched the knob, I heard something click inside the wall, like a lock disengaging. Then the radio on my hip buzzed, but not like before, not static. It played music, low, distorted, like a warped cassette tape playing a music box lullaby, something childish and off-key. I pulled the radio off my belt and held it up. The tune played for about 10 seconds, then stopped, and then something whispered, "Why did you come back?" I nearly dropped the damn thing. I spun around, scanning the hallway. Nothing. Not even the usual museum creaks. Just that dead air again. I backed away from the door slowly and returned to the main exhibit hall. I figured maybe Mr. Warren was testing me, or some part of the orientation was still happening. Spoiler alert, it wasn't a test. I didn't sleep when I got home that morning. Too wired. I just paced my apartment, trying to convince myself I hadn't heard that voice. And that's when the mirror thing started. I was brushing my teeth, trying to chill out, watching YouTube on my phone. Luna's story time video about some dude who found a secret floor in his school. Y'all know the one. Background noise, just to keep my mind from spiraling. But when I looked up in the bathroom mirror, I froze, because my reflection didn't freeze with me. I'm not exaggerating. I moved my hand to the left, and the reflection moved just a beat behind. Not slow, not glitchy, just delayed. Like whatever was looking back at me needed a second to catch up. I wiped the mirror, blinked, looked again. This time, everything was fine, normal. I chalked it up to exhaustion, maybe paranoia, until I noticed something else. The door in the reflection. It was slightly open, but in real life, behind me, it was closed. I turned around instantly, heart in my throat. Door, still shut, locked. I looked back at the mirror, door still open in the reflection, and in the gap of that open reflection door, there was a face. Not mine. Pale, grey skin, no eyes, just sockets. Smiling, like really smiling. A deep, skin-stretching grin that cut across its whole face. I turned and punched the actual door open. Nothing. Empty hallway. When I looked back at the mirror, the reflection had caught up. Door was closed again. Just my face, pale and terrified. I didn't sleep that day. I sat on the floor of my apartment with all the lights on, a knife in one hand and my phone in the other. I tried calling Mr. Warren. No answer. I emailed the Job SpireNet inbox. Bounced back. Disconnected. Then around 4:17 p.m., I got a text. Just one sentence. If it speaks in your voice, don't answer it. That was it. No number. No contact name. Just that warning. I didn't reply. That night, I went back to the museum again. I know. You're probably yelling at your screen right now, like, bro, what are you doing? But listen, I needed answers. And honestly, some part of me wanted to know what the hell I'd gotten myself into. But that shift, that's when I found the basement. That's when I learned there were other caretakers before me. And not all of them made it out. Alright, so if you've been following the story up to this point, you know, I probably should have quit already. But when you're in it, like really in it, it doesn't feel like a normal decision anymore. It's like you've already gone too far to back out. You want answers. You need them. Because quitting doesn't feel like safety anymore. It feels like leaving a door unlocked and hoping nothing walks through. And that door? It's open now. So we're at night number 3. I showed up again, yeah. I know. I'm the dumb horror movie guy who dies first. But I wasn't coming in blind this time. I brought back up. No, not a friend or anything. Who do you think I am, Scooby-Doo? No one in their right mind would come with me. I brought a GoPro. I strapped it to my chest, turned it on before I walked through the gates, and set it to auto-upload clips to my Google Drive via Wi-Fi, as long as it stayed connected to my hotspot. Paranoid? Maybe. But if something happened, I wanted proof. Mr. Warren wasn't at the gate this time. The front doors were already open. I stepped inside, and everything felt different. The air was warmer, thicker, like the building was breathing. The lights were already on in the main hallway, casting long shadows from the mannequins and glass cases. And here's the first red flag of the night. The salt circle was gone. The whole east wing door was open, wide, and the chair, empty. No sign of the woman, not even a grain of salt on the floor. That's when the first real fear set in. Not the spooky clown laughed kind of fear. I mean real, chest tightening, fight or flight fear. I felt it in my bones. And then my GoPro glitched. I heard the beep beep of it restarting. Looked down. It powered off. Came back on. Then off again. And then it wouldn't turn off. The LED blinked red, like it was still recording, but the display showed static, like analog TV static. It had never done that before. Then came the smell. Rotten, moldy, like wet dirt mixed with spoiled meat. You ever leave raw chicken in a trash bin for 3 days in summer heat? That kind of smell. It was coming from behind the museum gift shop. Yeah, this creepy place has a gift shop. Fake snow globes, reprints of old town maps, glow-in-the-dark, I Survived Mill Hollow t-shirts, the usual. But behind the cashier counter, tucked under the staircase, was a short door I swear I never noticed before. Just big enough to crawl through, not labeled, almost hidden behind a display rack of vintage postcards. The smell was coming from there, so of course I opened it. There was a ladder going straight down. into total darkness, and written in chalk above the crawl space was one word. Caretakers, I should have walked away. Instead, I dropped my flashlight down. It clattered onto concrete below, about a 10-foot drop. Then the radio buzzed, louder this time. Go down. That's it. Just those 2 words. Same whispery voice from before. Cold, breathless, like wind in an abandoned house. So yeah, I climbed down, because I'm 3 shifts into a nightmare job, and at this point, curiosity is the only thing keeping me together. The basement was a whole different world. No museum decor, just bare concrete, rusted pipes, exposed wires. The walls were wet, like condensation had been building for decades. My flashlight flickered the second I hit the bottom, but it was just enough to see what was down there. Beds, cots, lined up against the far wall. 7 of them, each with a nameplate. Carlton M, Maria L, James R, Annalise T. Unknown. Unknown. The last one didn't have a plate, just a name scratched into the wall with something sharp. Ben. That's my name. I'm not kidding. Same spelling. Same freaking name. I stood there, staring at it, heartbeat slamming in my chest. I even pulled out my phone to take a picture, but the photo came out blank. Black screen. No data. It wouldn't even upload. That's when I noticed the locker in the corner. Old, rusty, half open. I pulled it the rest of the way, and inside were journals. About 15 of them, all marked by initials. Some were falling apart, water damaged, moldy. But one was fresh, leather-bound, clean. It just had a note tucked inside that said, "Use this when the others stop answering." I flipped it open. First page just had 3 sentences, written in huge, shaky handwriting. It got Carlton. We think he spoke to the mirror too long. Do not stay after sunrise. If the mannequins move, it's already too late. I heard something above me. A creak. Slow. Dragging. Like something was coming down the ladder. I turned off my flashlight and hid behind one of the lockers, holding my breath. I heard the ladder groan, step by step. Something heavy was climbing down, but I didn't see a shadow. I saw something worse. There was no shadow at all. Whatever it was, it didn't block the light, didn't reflect anything. It was like a moving void. I could feel it though, like ice sliding down my back. I stayed completely still. Then, a voice. My voice. "Hey, Ben, come out. I'm you." It was perfect. Every inflection, every tone. I felt bile rise in my throat. Then it laughed, but not my laugh. Deeper, cruel, like it was mocking how close it had gotten. And then it climbed back up the ladder. I waited 5 minutes before moving. Climbed out, ran out of the gift shop, and locked the damn museum door behind me. But when I turned around, the mannequins, they weren't in the same spots anymore. The one from the colonial exhibit was now in the main hallway, head turned toward the entrance, hand slightly raised, like it had been waving goodbye. I didn't go home that morning. I sat at the Starbucks in the next town over for 6 hours, trying to upload the GoPro footage. Nothing worked. The files were corrupted. All of them, except one. Just one 10-second clip survived. Me, standing in front of the mirror in the museum bathroom. But in the reflection, I was smiling. And I never smiled that night. The final shift. The real reason the job exists. And what I found inside the sealed vault beneath the museum. Spoiler. This town doesn't show up on satellite maps for a reason. And I'm probably not getting out. I'm typing this from a public library computer in a town 3 hours away from Mill Hollow. I haven't slept in 2 days. If this post ends suddenly, it means either the Wi-Fi cut out or something found me. And if you never hear from me again, just don't go looking for that museum. So after the basement incident, I did something kinda stupid, but also kinda necessary. I went back for one final shift. Not for the job, not for the money, not because I thought I could fix anything. I just needed the truth, because now it wasn't just creepy mannequins and whispers anymore. It was personal. Something knew my name. Something had already crawled out of the museum and into my life. And I had this feeling, like if I didn't go back and close whatever door I'd opened, it was going to follow me forever. Or worse, it was already following me. Night 4, the final shift. Except this time, when I got to the museum, the front doors weren't just unlocked. They were wide open. The lights were on. Every single one. Even the ones in the rooms that were usually dark. And someone, or something, had dragged every display case, every mannequin, every antique, into the main lobby. It looked like a warehouse sale from hell. All the exhibits just piled around the room in a massive circle, and right in the center of that circle, a metal hatch I had never seen before. Big, industrial, bolted, like something you'd see on a submarine, painted across the hatch in white block letters. Do not open, sealed 1873. Below it, scratched into the metal, were names, maybe 20, maybe more, but the last two were fresh. Carlton M. Ben R. Yeah, my name. Again, someone had prepared for me to be here, long before I even applied. The walkie on my belt suddenly crackled. Not a whisper this time, not static. A voice. Mr. Warren, if you've made it this far, it means the circle is broken. You didn't break it, but you didn't stop it either. I knew you'd keep digging. You all do. I didn't reply. I just listened. There was never a museum. The objects aren't cursed. They're anchors. They keep the thing below from remembering what it is. Silence. Then, it feeds on recognition, on identity. If it knows you, it becomes you. I asked him what was inside the hatch. He didn't answer right away. Then he said the sentence that still makes my stomach twist. The town wasn't built on top of the vault. The vault built the town. The archives are bait. The caretakers are the trapdoor. Then the radio went dead. Like fully dead. As in, no battery, no power, nothing. I should have left. I know. Every part of me knew I should have walked away, walked into the woods, kept walking until my legs gave out. But the hatch was breathing. I don't know how else to describe it. The metal wasn't moving, but the air around it pulsed, like something enormous was inhaling under the floor. And the words kept replaying in my head. If it knows you, it becomes you. I looked around the room. Every mannequin was facing me, not posed randomly anymore, not in frozen positions, facing me, like an audience waiting for a performance. I knew then, all those objects weren't dangerous because they were haunted. They were dangerous because they were memories, pieces of people, faces, names, voices. Every past caretaker had been taken, absorbed, copied, stored. The museum wasn't a collection of cursed items. It was a library of stolen identities, and I was next on the shelf. So I did the only thing I could think of. I opened the hatch. I don't know why. I don't know if it was bravery or stupidity or something in my head that wasn't me anymore. The hatch screamed when the bolts came loose, like metal grinding against bone. And when I finally pulled it open, I didn't see darkness. I saw reflections, thousands of them, like a pit full of moving liquid mirrors. every surface rippling with faces, some crying, some screaming, some smiling like they were waiting for me. And then, from every direction, in every voice I've ever had, including ones I didn't recognize, Ben, 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 come down. We've been waiting. I almost fell in, almost leaned forward. That thing wanted me to. It was pulling at me, not physically, but mentally, like it was rearranging my thoughts and replaying every decision I'd ever made. I saw flashes in my head, Carlton breaking the circle, Maria answering the mirror, James unlocking the wrong door. Every caretaker failed, not because they were weak, but because the thing learned them. I did the only thing I knew would stop it. I threw every object I could grab, every mannequin, every artifact, every anchoring item, down into the hatch. The reflections screamed, not sound, not air, memory. It was like dumping gasoline into a hard drive, corrupting the data, flooding it. The hatch slammed shut on its own, hard enough to shake the floor, and the lights went out, all at once. I ran, didn't look back, didn't wait for sunrise, didn't care about the money. When I got outside, the museum door locked behind me, not with a key, not by hand. It locked itself, and through the glass I could see the mannequins, back in place, like nothing had moved. I never saw Mr. Warren again, but a week later, I checked my bank account. Final payment received, $7,500. No sender, no note, just money. The job paid out, even though I quit. Or maybe I didn't. Maybe I finished it. Maybe that's what every caretaker was supposed to do. I've been seeing things and reflections again. Not all the time, not like before. But sometimes, when I pass a store window or check my phone camera, I see my face. Delayed. Just a split second behind. Like something is still learning me. Still copying. Still waiting. And sometimes, when I'm half asleep, I can hear voices under the floorboards of wherever I'm staying, all saying the same thing. You left the hatch unlocked, but I didn't. Right? Right? If anyone ever finds the Mill Hollow Museum, don't go inside. If it already knows your name, it's too late anyway. And if it doesn't, don't let it learn.